A very good evening to one and all present here. This is Christina, Assistant Professor of French, St. Mary's College. So today we'll be having a seminar on scholarships in France, and our guest speaker is Ms. Shruti Museum, and Suji, our teacher, will be delivering the welcome address. So I invite Suji to give the welcome note.
A very good afternoon to one and all gathered here. Coming together is a beginning. Keeping together is a progress. And working together is a success by Henry Ford. A very warm welcome to one and all gathered here. It is my indeed pleasure to welcome everyone to this innovative meeting. First of all, I would like to welcome our beloved Secretary, Reverend Dr. Sister Shibana, our dearest Principal, Reverend Dr. Sister J.C. Fernando, our Deputy Principal, Reverend Dr. Sister Kulandai Teres, and our Director of Self-Supporting Courses, Reverend Sister Jairani, for giving us this wonderful opportunity of conducting our association meeting. I also welcome all the heads of various departments, my dearest faculties, and my dear friends. I also welcome my dear students for showing their interest in attending this innovative meeting. Mastering others is strength, but mastering yourself is true power. I would like to extend my cordial welcome to our esteemed resource person, Ms. Shruti Millian, Manager in Campus France at Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. Ms. Shruti is a highly accomplished individual, having studied at CSI Ewart School, Chennai. Ma'am has pursued her bachelor's degree in commerce at Women's Christian College and have completed her master's in journalism and communication at SRM Institute of Science and Technology. She has gained valuable experience working in events and communications for the Indo-French Chamber of Commerce and Industry as a French resource and ISO Technology and as a Content and Communication Manager at JC Lifeskill Academy. Currently, Ma'am is working as the co-manager at Campus France India, overseeing Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. Let's give a warm welcome to Ms. Shruti. We welcome you, ma'am. We are eagerly waiting for your session. The forum is yours now.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. I'll just share my screen so I can share the presentation. I hope it's visible.
Yeah, ma'am, it's visible.
Thank you. Yeah, so before I speak about scholarships in France, I will just give you an idea about what Campus France is and the various reasons why studying in France is a very, exciting and interesting opportunity. If you do have any questions, you can either leave them in the chat box now or maybe at the end of the session if you want to ask them directly. Okay, so I don't know how many of you have actually heard about Campus France, but Campus France is a government agency. So we are not, sorry. Yeah, we are not a private consultancy or we don't represent one particular institution in France. But to put it very simply, we are the educational wing of the French embassy. So we are part of the French government. We come under the French embassy in India and under the French Ministry of External Affairs and the French Ministry of Higher Education and Research. So it is not a private consultancy. It's not one particular French institution, but it is the educational wing of the French government itself. So we are a government agency. What we do is the promotion of higher education in France. So if you're interested in studying in France, you will have to go through Campus France for all your processes. For your visa process, admission process, everything, you will have to approach Campus France for all of those processes. You can't directly apply for a French visa, for your student visa. You will have to go through an interview process, a document verification process with Campus France before you apply for your student. So we help with the promotion of higher education in France. We tell you more about the different courses which are possible, the different universities which are there in France, what you can take according to your profile. And we guide you through the entire process. We also do free counseling sessions, which means that if you're interested in studying in France or you're interested in studying abroad and want to just keep France as one of your options, you can reach out to us. We will schedule a free session with you where we talk about your profile, we talk about the different courses which you can take up in France and how the admission works, and we guide you through the process. So we do multiple counseling sessions like this, which are entirely free of cost. And we conduct a lot of workshops, education fairs, presentations like this, mostly for the promotion of higher education in France itself. And of course, we also do the visa processing. Like I said, if you're going to apply for a long stay student visa in France, you have to go through a Campus France interview before you can apply. So we do the visa processing as well. And I don't know if you would have heard, but India and France had signed an agreement in 2018, which recognizes the educational qualifications of the other country. Basically, to make you understand this, I will give you an idea about the Indian and the French education system. In India, you have your 12th standard exam, then you have the bachelor's degree, which is 3 years or 4 years or even 5 years, depending on whichever course you're taking. After that, you have master's degree, and then you have your PhD, which can be 3 to 6 years. In France, it's a little bit similar. You have the 12th standard exam equivalent, which is the French baccalaureate, which is equivalent to your 12th standard exam in India. Then you have a bachelor's, which is 3 years, no matter which domain you take. A bachelor's in France is 3 years. Then you have master's, which is 2 years, and a PhD, which is 3 years again, 3 years maximum, 3.5 years. This is the education system itself in France and India. Basically, this agreement that was signed in 2018 says that whatever educational qualification you have, be it a 12th standard exam, a bachelor's or a master's in either country, it will be recognized by the other country without you having go through any additional examination or additional courses, which means you don't have to write an entrance exam or you don't have to take up additional courses to be eligible for higher education in France. With whatever degree, with whatever certificates that you have right now, you can directly apply for your higher studies in France. The only domain that we don't promote is medicine, because there's lack of recognition in that particular domain. But all the other domains, you'll be able to find courses which are recognized in France itself. So to move on, a lot of students don't generally opt for France when it comes to higher education, because some of them don't really know that France is very popular destination for higher studies. So there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of stereotypes when it comes to studying in France. So the next part of the presentation will be to break those stereotypes, to tell how it's not really true. So basically, there are 5 myths that a lot of people have about studying in France. The first thing is, many people think that you need to speak French or you need to learn French to study in France, which is not the case at all. If you are going for a program which is taught 100% in English, you won't need to know French. You won't need to learn French or speak French for your program. Later on, I'll tell you why it is important to know the language. But for your course itself, if it is taught 100% in English, nobody will ask you for any French certification. And you have around 1,700 programs which are taught entirely in English in France. These can be programs in various levels, at the bachelor's, master's, PhD level, in various domains. So right from management, business, engineering, anything. In all the domains, you'll be able to find programs which are taught 100% in English in France. So we have a catalog that we usually send students. This has all the programs which are taught in English. So if you're interested in studying in France or in keeping France as one of your options, you can send us an email and we will share the catalog so you know what are the different kind of programs which are available in France. So just to know that if your program is taught 100% in English, you don't need to know French to study that particular program. And even for your English language proficiency, an IELTS or a TOEFL is very rarely asked, usually because you've done your entire education, your 12th standard, your bachelor's in English. that itself is proof of your English language proficiency. So you might be exempted from writing an English language proficiency test like an IELTS or a TOEFL. Okay, the second myth that a lot of people have is that education in France is expensive. Many people think that studying in France is expensive, which is again not really the case. Studying abroad itself is an investment, meaning you do need to spend some amount of money to study abroad. But when you look at France and when you compare it to the other countries, it is a lot more affordable in terms of education, in terms of living expenses, and so on. This is because the French government offers a number of benefits for students, for international students especially, who are coming to study in France. So firstly, the tuition fees. When it comes to tuition fees, the tuition fees which is given in the French universities, in the public universities, are extremely subsidized, which means you have to pay only one small amount of the fee itself. For example, if you take a master's course in France, 1 year of a master's might come up to around 4,000 euros. This is around 3.5 to 4 lakhs per year. So it's heavily subsidized in public universities. In private institutions, it is a little more expensive. The tuition fees can start from around 4,000, 5,000 euros, and it can go upward from that. But in public universities, it is heavily subsidized. You end up having to pay only 1/3 of the tuition fee, which comes to around 3.5 to 4 lakhs. But when it comes to the quality of education in both public as well as private schools, the quality of education is very good. So there is no doubt on the quality of education just because the tuition fees is low. So the quality of education is not compromised. You have both in public as well as in private schools, you have like top-notch quality of education provided. The second point is the CAF. So CAF is basically like a rental subsidy. If you're living in private or public accommodation in France, and if you're interested, if you can apply to something called the CAF, which is a rental subsidy, and get up to 30% of the rent that you're paying, you can get it reimbursed to you. So this is another initiative taken by the French government for all students in France to, welcome them to come to France to study. So you can get a part of your rent reimbursed to you with this allowance called the CAF. The third point is the part-time jobs. So once you're studying in France with a long-stay French student visa, you can work part-time for up to 20 hours per week. The main objective of going and studying in France is to study, but with the option of working part-time, you do know that you have this additional benefit of earning money in case you need it. So you have the option of working part-time in France for 20 hours per week. The fourth point is the social security, which is basically like your medical insurance. So this is mandatory in France, which means that once you reach France, you have to apply for social security. And it's mandatory, and you will get up to 60 to 70% of your health expenses reimbursed to you. So this is again another initiative taken by the French government for all students. It's not just for French nationals, it's for all nationality students. The fifth point is the cruise. The cruise is basically public residence halls. It's like accommodation which is given by the French government. And it's that in all the cities in France. So this is very cheap when you compare it to accommodation that you find outside, like private accommodation. Cruise is comparatively a lot more cheaper. And because it is cheap, it's also very competitive. A lot of people, all students in France will be applying for cruise because it's very cheap form of accommodation. The rent is very low. So this is also another form of accommodation that is open for all students. It's not just for French nationals, it's for all nationality students. And the sixth point is the discounts and subsidies. So with your student ID card in France, you can get a number of discounts and subsidies on things like, on services like transportation, food, cafeterias, museums, your touristic spots. All you have to do is flash your student ID card and you get a number of discounts and subsidies on various services. The third myth that a lot of people have is that the admission procedure is long and complicated when it comes to studying in France, which is again not the case, because you have a government agency like Campus France, which helps you through every step of the process, right from helping you choose your course to applying for the visa processing, everything. You will have to go through Campus France for the entire process. So there's a lot of hand-holding involved, but you will have to do your own research as well at certain points. But we're always there to help you at every step of the process. Even after you go to France, you can always reach out to us for any queries that you have about any issues that you're facing over there. Just to let you know right now about the admission process. So in France, you have public universities and private institutions, like I mentioned before. Admission process for private institutions are a little different from public. For private, you directly apply with the school. And once you get your final admission letter, you will have to come to us for your visa processing. For public universities, you might have to apply through Campus France itself for the course. So here, when it comes to public universities, you might have to start your application itself with us. So in this case, if you're, for example, if you're in your third year right now or your final year right now, and you're looking to study in France next year in a public university, it's good to know that the application is already open. So it opens at least 1 year in advance for public university. So for the next September intake, which is September 2024, applications have already opened for that intake. So if you're looking to study in France in public universities, you will have to start applying right away for your course. The fourth point is that the post-study opportunities are rare. That is, once you finish your studies in France, what exactly is there to do after that? So the first thing is your stay back visa, which basically means once you finish your recognized master's in France, you can stay back in France for up to 2 years to search for a job. So there's a visa which is given for this known as the APS visa, APS. So this visa gives you the right to stay back in France after your master's to search for a job. Now, this visa is not just for France. You can search for a job in any of the 26 to 27 Schengen countries, which is basically part of the European Union. So in these 26, 27 Schengen countries, you can search for a job, for an internship, for anything. So the APS visa, the stay back visa, is not just for France, it's for the entire Schengen zone itself. So you can search for a job in multiple countries. The second point is your job opportunities. So once you finish your education in France, you have around 1,000 French companies that are based in India and 150 Indian companies that are based in France. So all of these companies are looking to recruit students who have an educational experience of studying in France, who have an intercultural experience of studying in a country like France, because when you're studying in France, you're not just surrounded by French nationals. Your classroom is going to be a mixture of multiple nationalities. So you're going to get a very rich cultural experience when you're studying in a country like France. And you will also have the language capacity, because if you're studying in France, automatically you'll pick up French. So you can apply to a number of French companies who are looking for such candidates. The third point is the alumni network. So we have an alumni network which is very large. And once you finish your studies in France, we don't just let you be. We invite you to join the network, where you can keep in touch with your peers. You can get to know more about the job opportunities which are available in India. We organize a lot of alumni events where you are invited to participate and to interact with companies and so on. So we try to get our alumni to help us with our events, and we help our alumni as well with job opportunities. The fourth point is the alumni visa. So the alumni visa is for 5 years. It is not for you to stay back and search for a job, but it is basically a visa where you can visit France in short periods. It's a short stay, multiple entry circulation visa, which means you can go to France either for business purposes or for tourism purposes. But you go there for 3 months and you have to come back after that. So this is for 5 years. So you have a 2-year stay back visa and a 5-year alumni visa once you finish your studies in France. And the fifth point is that the choices are limited. A lot of people think that when you think of France, the only thing that you can think of studying there is either culinary arts or fashion and so on, which is not the case, because like I mentioned before, a majority of students who go from India, and we do send a lot of students from India to France every year, most of them will end up going for management or business courses or for engineering courses or pure sciences or anything. There's a lot of options which are available. And then, of course, you have fashion, hotel management, hospitality, tourism, and all of that as well. But engineering, pure sciences are the top domains that people from India choose, because there's a lot of courses available in those areas. So there are a lot of choices available. And the French institutions, the French universities and the private institutions are very well ranked. You'll see them on top of the QS rankings, the Times Education rankings, and so on. So you can choose your universities based on how well it is ranked as well. So the next part is we will move on to the scholarships. So if you're thinking about studying in France, you do have a lot of funding options which are available. So here you'll see 2 links. One is the Campus Bourse catalog. So this basically means campus scholarship catalog. So here you'll find a list of scholarships which are given for various nationalities. It's not just for Indians. It's for all nationalities, all fields of study. That is for bachelor's, master's, PhD, for all levels of study, for all fields, different domains of studies. It's a very general catalog that you can have a look at if you want to know the different funding opportunities. But what is more interesting is the catalog for Indian students. So this is a website of scholarships which are given only for Indian students by the French government and by various Indo-French trusts and so on. So they give around 500 scholarships every year, which is right now worth more than 14 crores of rupees. These scholarships are given at various levels. You have at the bachelor's, the master's, PhD level. If you want to do an internship in France, if you want to do an exchange program in France, all of this is possible with various scholarships as well. And you have for different domains of studies also. I will just speak about one scholarship, which is the Charpak Scholarship. The Charpak Scholarship is the French government scholarship given only for Indian students. So this, like I mentioned, is that at the bachelor's, master's, PhD, exchange, all levels. If you're talking about the master's level, you get a monthly living allowance of around 860 euros. You get assistance in finding accommodation, assistance in social security. You get a lot of benefits which come under the scholarship itself. A lot of fee waivers are there as well. So each such scholarship has its own benefits. They have their own eligibility criteria. You don't have to have a particular CGPA to apply for the scholarship. Even if you have an average CGPA, but a very good profile, you will still be considered. There's no CGPA cutoff or anything like that. Your marks do matter. It plays a very important role, but your entire profile is taken into account. So if you've done any work experience, internship experience, if you know French, all of that adds a lot of weight to your profile. So this is one such scholarship. Then you have different kinds of scholarships given for various fields of study for women, for minorities. So you have a lot of other scholarships which are also possible. You can scan the QR code to know the different scholarships which are there and to know which ones you are eligible for. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to us. Right now, there is one particular scholarship which is open, which is known as the Eiffel Scholarship. So this particular scholarship is open for all nationalities. It's not just for Indians. But it is a very interesting scholarship because they give a huge amount of living allowance. You have a lot of benefits to it. But it is competitive. But if you do have a good profile, you can definitely apply for the scholarship, or you can reach out to us and we'll tell you how to go about the application as well. Okay, the last part that I'm going to speak about is learning French. So I mentioned in my first slide that you don't need to study French or know French to study in France, which is definitely the case. If your course is taught 100% in English, nobody is going to ask you for any French language certification. But once you step out of your classroom, it is going to be entirely in French. Right from buying groceries or opening a bank account, you will need to know some amount of French to make your life a little more easier in France, which is why we encourage students who go study in France to learn some French before they leave. So this is one reason why you need to know French, because to make your life easier, it's more practical. The second reason is for your job. So if you're looking to stay back in France to search for a job, in that case, it will be easier if you do know French, because then you're not restricted to only the English speaking roles. You can apply to any job which is there in France. The third thing, like I had mentioned before, is for scholarships. Again, it's not mandatory to know French to apply for a scholarship, but it will add a lot of weight to your profile if you have a French certification along with your scholarship application. And so how do you learn French? You're already, I'm assuming, learning French at your college. So that is a great start itself. But if not, you have the Alliance Française network in India where you can learn French. Since where you are based, you have the Alliance Française of Madras, which is the closest. And they do take online courses. So if you're interested to know more about French courses, that also you can email me and I can put you in touch with the Alliance, who will guide you through the entire process. So they offer online French courses at different levels. You have right from the basic level, which is A1, A2, and it goes on to B1, B2, C1, C2. So you can start off with the basic level, and they do take online courses as well. If not the Alliance, you have a lot of applications online where they teach French. You have a lot of French institutions, private schools where they take French as well. It's entirely up to you on how you learn the language. But the objective is you know the language before you go to France, so that your life can be a lot more easier when it comes to living and working there. So this is basically the end of my presentation. I will leave my contact information here. So we have 12 Campus France offices in India located in the major cities. So we have one in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, we have one in Kochi, in Bangalore, and Hyderabad, in the south. And then apart from that, you have the others in the different parts of India as well. For Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry, my colleague Ajit and I take care of this zone. So if you're from the zone, you will have to go through us for all your processes. If you're based somewhere else, you can reach out to your nearest Campus France office, and they will also help you through the entire process. We are based in Chennai, but we do online sessions. We do virtual counseling sessions. So if you're interested in studying in France, if you have any questions about anything related to France, or if you're not interested in studying, but you do want to get some queries cleared, you can just send us an email and we will schedule a session with you either online or in person, and you can discuss further with your parents and so on. So yeah, so this is the end of my presentation. If you have any questions, you can either leave them in the chat box or you can unmute and ask up to you.
Girls, do you have any other questions? You can also put it up in the chat box if you are not able to speak. Come on, girls. Do you need any other explanation? Do you have any doubts? Do you need any more clarity in any of the topics that was discussed?
But you can ask any questions. So whatever doubt you have in regard to learning French language, you can clarify your queries with ma'am.
I will just leave my email as well on the chat box. So if you have anything, you can also email and ask me questions, and we can have a session one-on-one also, if that is what you want.
Okay, maybe they are too shy to ask a question. Yes, Felcia, do you have a question? Okay, maybe they'll contact you separately. Or girls, if you have any other queries, you can post it in our WhatsApp group, and that also can be forwarded to Shruti ma'am. So I guess we can end the meeting here if you have no questions. So I'll deliver the word of thanks. First and foremost, I thank God Almighty for the smooth conduct of this meeting. I then extend my gratefulness to Ms. Shruti Mariam for giving such an important information which will help our students. And scholarship is something very much important for students who are trying to even study in France. Thank you, Shruti, for accepting our invite despite your busy schedule. I know it was a very last minute invite, so I thank wholeheartedly for your support. I thank Ms. Suji for cooperating and arranging this meeting. I thank Ms. Patricia Umila, Assistant Professor of English, for extending the technical support. I thank the management for allowing us to conduct this meeting. Last but not the least, I thank my dear students for your patient listening. And I hope you participate. And if you have any other queries, and I hope that you will post it in the WhatsApp group, which will be forwarded to Ms. Shruti, or she has also left her email address there, by which you can contact her. So thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Shruti, ma'am, for your support and for such an important information.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your support and for your motivation and making us get more knowledge about learning a new language. I hope the students will get back to you soon. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I guess we can end the meeting here, Shruti, ma'am. Yeah, thank you.
Sir, you can leave us. Thank you for your cooperation.